Kamisha, have you ever seen the Jesus Easter movie in Patwa?
Yes,
You have seen
I
it.
have. I think they started showing it maybe a year or two ago. I don't remember, but I
Yeah.
remember seeing it and it was fascinating.
Fascinating. I like your choice of words. So Patria K was telling me about it on air yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and I had never seen it. I may have seen little clips, seen it in passing, but I never actually sat down and watched it. So she sent me a YouTube link yesterday to actually watch Patwa Jesus, because the way how she described it, it was hilarious. She's like, okay, we're talking lily white, blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus speaking Patwa, and of course, like the karate movies, the voiceovers don't match the mouths of the people speaking. So in that sense, yes, it was quite funny. But beyond the humor in that situation, I found it quite riveting. I was drawn
Agreed.
into the story. I found that the voice acting and the translations were quite good. And it was interesting in a way that I've never found a Jesus movie quite as captivating. Because, yeah, I've heard all these Bible stories before. I know what's going to happen. I know what all the characters are going to say. It's just watching it in TV and movie form is the only difference. But something about this version just really sucked me in. So I started out watching it out of curiosity after Pat sent me the link. And before I knew it, I was 40 minutes deep at work. But I'm talking about it now on this program. So for the record, Cliff, I didn't waste 40 minutes of work time watching a movie. It was research for this
Necessary
segment.
research.
It's,
Yes,
it's
please.
work. And the reason I found it so interesting is that it brought an interpretation and a relatability that I'd never really grasped before. So, take for example this passage about the young boy, or Jesus as a young boy at the age of 12, and it's taken from Luke, was it Luke chapter 2, verses 47 to 49. So it goes, this is the written version, the standard English version. Finally, after 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. "Child, why have you done this to us?" his mother asked. "Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you looking for me?" he asked. "Did you not know that I had to be in my father's house?" Now, hear the Patwa translation.
Right.
When Jesus reached 12, Joseph and Mary came to Jerusalem for the Passover holiday. When them left to go back at them yard, the boy never go with them. Though them did think him did a travel with him other family member them. His mother and father turned back to the city. And after 3 days pass, them find him in a God house, sit down and a reason with the leader them.
Oh, what picnic this? You ask them kind of question.
And Nazareth him come from. We think send did left with me. Beg your pardon for him brightness.
Everybody we hear him did shock.
But see, boy, make you do it so. Make me and your father worry up yourself and look for you all over the place.
What me gonna do look for me? You know somebody after they in my father's house.
The insolence of it. Kamisha, you ever talk to your parents so you get a box?
Please.
And, I've heard that story a million times, but never quite
Like
that
that.
way. And just hearing it in the vernacular gave me a deeper understanding of what it must have been like for Jesus and the people around him at that time. The man said, "Oh, if I pick this ask questions." And said, "Beg your pardon for him brightness."
Brightness, yes.
That's how people speak.
Yes,
That's how
yes.
people in Jamaica speak. Hear this other passage. Just play the beginning of it. How Jesus greets Simon.
Yo, go on.
There now.
Simon, can I borrow your boat?
Yeah, man.
You can come back to me.
Him not going, right? Talk to.
you imagine Jesus? It was funny hearing, I did chuckle at
Yeah.
that one, hearing Jesus say, yo, wagwan.
Yeah, you talk to your virgin Simon.
Can I borrow a boat?
Yeah.
You know? But when I really thought about it, if Jesus was alive today and living in Jamaica, this is exactly how he would speak to people in their own language. So there is value in this type of translation. And I know that there are a lot of people who are still opposed to the teaching of patois, the writing of patois, and even the use of it in general, just even speaking it in general. Worse, the reference to it as an actual distinct language from English. But think on these things when you're looking at communication strategy, especially for something like spreading the word. If the goal is to be understood and to foster deeper understanding, what better way to do that than in one's native language? Jesus wouldn't have been obsessed with speaking perfect English or Latin. Yeah, he would speak to people in a way that they understood and in a way that gets their attention, which is why the Bible has been translated into so many languages in the very first place. Because once upon a time, all church services were held in Latin, yeah? And only the elite schooled in Latin could understand. For the rest, it was just mere ritual, doing the little chants and, whatever, and drinking the blood, for Catholics, drinking the blood and the wine and whatnot. Now, if you accept the value then in this type of translation for communication, then think about how it is to be accomplished. Because as a writer myself, this definitely was right on my mind while I was sitting there watching Patwa Jezas. For them to pull this off, someone had to sit down and write the translation. And in doing so, I wondered, well, did they use the official standard spelling? Or did they use, as Carolyn Cooper calls it, the chaka-chaka spelling? You see her columns. You see her column, she has chaka-chaka and the proper spelling. And as a writer myself who's attempted to write dialogue and tell stories in Creole, this is a legitimate dilemma or challenge for us. I've actually written one complete story fully in standard Creole, both dialogue and narrative, just as an experiment. And I battled with the decision whether to go chaka-chaka or proper, because nobody can read the proper spelling. And that's because nobody's been taught to read it. Yeah? Only a handful of people are literate in the language that we speak every day. And if it's to be taught in school alongside English, as I think it should be, nobody's saying replace English. Nobody's saying that. But if it's to be taught alongside English as a tool, then there needs to be literature available to practice it.
Yes.
Yeah, because what are we going to practice reading Jamaican Creole or any other Creole in if nobody's writing it? Yeah, which is why I made the decision to go with the proper spelling. I haven't published that piece, at least not yet, but eventually, after some revisions, I hope to. But these are things to think about in the ongoing language debate. Patria's tweet yesterday said, "Thank me later." Thanks, Pat. Thank you, no. Things to contemplate. That's what's on my mind.